This is America's wake-up call.
People are going to die for nothing.
Hurricane Katrina exposes deep cracks in our nation's disaster response, infrastructure, and leadership.
And Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
For God's sakes, shut up and send us somebody.
It shatters trust in government.
And it was totally the politicians' fault.
What would you like for me to do, Congressman?
Well, and that's why I'm happy you left.
It shifts our population and transforms our politics and culture.
Everything that could go wrong went wrong when that storm hit.
And it compels our nation to confront hard truths about race, poverty, and climate.
This is not fair.
That we felt deserted?
In 2005, we spent weeks on the ground.
Where Hurricane Katrina ripped through the Mississippi Gulf Coast more than a week and a half ago, yet we are still finding people drifting through the rubble.
And now we reconnect with the first responders and survivors who barely make it out alive as we investigate the lessons and changes in America after Katrina.
We adopted our son when he was 2 years old.
On the same day Roy Kerr and his wife adopt, Hurricane Katrina hit South Florida. The Kerrs leave their home in Tampa for an ill-timed vacation. They pick New Orleans.
The city was totally unprepared.
Katrina crosses Florida and blows up in the Gulf. Roy checks into his hotel as the clock runs out.
All the fuel stations were already shut down or out of gas, just in this 3.5, 4 hours. Grocery stores are already shut down. So the people in New Orleans did not really have time to prepare.
Katrina is now a Cat 5 monster rolling towards New Orleans and the Mississippi coast.
We knew we were going to be deployed.
Hillsborough County firefighter Kelly Hallman braces for the worst.
Oh, I knew it was going to be bad.
It all overflowed.
So does Susie Towater. She lives in Tampa, but her family lives in Gulfport, Mississippi.
My mind is going crazy because I'm thinking it's really not going to be good at all.
Katrina hits near the Louisiana-Mississippi border as a strong Cat 3 hurricane. Communications collapse.
Due to the hurricane in the area you are calling, your call cannot be completed at this time.
This really is the most frightening thing I think I've ever felt.
Communication, of course, is still virtually impossible unless you have a satellite phone.
Mark Wilson delivers our first live reports from Gulfport and Biloxi.
Now, this wall of water, keep in mind, was 25 feet tall. That actually came back about 3 blocks. So you have 3 blocks from the coastline of complete devastation.
I also traveled to Mississippi to cover the search for survivors.
Some of the urban search and rescue teams from Tampa Bay picking through rubble, busting down door to door, trying to find people.
That's how I find firefighters from Tampa Bay.
Just do a walk through every room.
And it's where I meet Kelly Hallman. And I decide to follow behind him, moving block by block through the wreckage.
I know that everybody that is apathetic about staying during the hurricanes, I want to be preaching to them, get the heck out of here.
You were there with us, and you were going with us through the neighborhoods and through the buildings.
Finding some things you may not expect.
And I was telling him, I said, guys, I just saw a green poodle. I don't know what, and another one goes, hey, I saw a green pit bull.
Drums of green dye had mixed into the floodwater where there used to be a fishnet factory.
Well, there were entire blocks you and I were walking where there was no one to rescue because there was nothing there except a few stray cinder blocks.
Yes, yeah. They were washed 3 or 4 blocks over and piled on top of other houses.
And that's where Kelly makes his first rescue.
Found an 80-ish-year-old one-armed man, diabetic, pinned under some furniture, and his blood sugar was like in the 20s. We carried him on a backboard almost a mile back to the boat, put him in an ambulance and got him to the hospital. And we were told that that was the first rescue of Katrina.
As they keep searching, firefighters find many others, carry them to their loved ones, where we see hugs, smiles, and gratitude.
I can't tell you how many times I've had my neck hugged here by people, men and women.
They even offer the very little they have as thanks.
They were offering us food and us water, their supplies that they had.
There rescued us off the roof of my house.
Did you see the lady?
Back in Tampa, 3 days have passed.
There's nobody down there.
Well, I know.
And Susie Towater still can't reach her family.
I just want them to call me and let me know they're okay.
She asked Tampa's amateur radio club to send a distress call.
Just to let her know that they are okay. She's rather worried about them. Over. Okay, fine.
Until you've experienced that, you really don't understand it. You really don't.
And relief finally comes through a borrowed satellite phone.
It was my niece, and the first thing she says is, "Aunt Susie, we're okay." So that was a big relief because I knew she was talking for everyone.
Meanwhile, in New Orleans,
and you can see that every single window here throughout this Hyatt hotel is absolutely blown out.
The Kerr family is stuck in their hotel.
Every room was just torn, just shredded.
When the winds died down, he's relieved.
And it's like, okay, so the worst of it's over.
But hours later, the flood levees break.
They said the 17th Street and the Industrial Canal's levees just breached. And those poor people who lived in like a few block area in Lakeview, they didn't have a chance.
We call Roy by satellite phone as it all plays out and save the recording.
We thought our walls were going to cave in on both sides of our room. We had our both cars parked up on the third floor parking level. All the cars were destroyed. The windows are all imploded on all the cars. I'm looking outside the window now. There's probably about 6 feet of water just covering the city.
We try to drive from Mississippi to New Orleans, but discover the flooded and broken bridges. Streets are rivers, and inside the hotel.
I'm on the second floor.
And the first floor is now gone.
First floor is pretty much half of it's underwater. Fish are swimming in the lobby. Saw like a little sand shark swimming in the lobby.
The people in New Orleans are trapped.
And that's what killed, the 1,800 people was the flooding, the water.
In New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina is a natural disaster that triggers a far greater man-made disaster.
I got you, brother. Don't you worry about nothing.
When you build a major city below sea level,
and it's surrounded, back then, dirt levees.
And neglect the levees that keep the water out.
Just desperately waving to get the attention of the many rescue helicopters in the area.
This is what you get.
We're hungry. We don't have no running water. We can't be by ourselves. We're hungry. We don't either. Concentrate on breathing, bro.
Hurricane Katrina blisters New Orleans with rain, surge, and 125-mile-per-hour winds.
These are the hurricane force winds.
But the disaster that follows is man-made. The hurricane weakens the levees that are doomed to fail at some point. The walls are too low and too shallow. They're poorly maintained and bolstered by dirt that a storm surge could easily wash away.
I'm looking at about 5 feet of water everywhere we look.
Hurricane Katrina makes August 29th, 2005, the day of reckoning.
Oh boy, that was the first thought. I said, this is going to be bad. And I don't think we're prepared for it as a nation.
Ron Patterson leads Polk County's Christian disaster response. He had been caring for victims of the Indian Ocean tsunami before he arrives in New Orleans.
In dollar damage in home, in the water, the sewer, the electric systems, the medical system, I think we're going to have a greater disaster here than the tsunami.
He's right. The 2004 tsunami caused up to $15 billion in damage, while Katrina causes around $125 billion.
There were too many errors made in preparedness, the engineering, money misspent. Those things catch up with you sooner or later.
After New Orleans fills up like a soup bowl, a FEMA manager says he doesn't want to alarm people by saying it's filling up like a soup bowl. That's just not happening. The city's evacuation plan calls for school buses that never leave the parking lots and flood. 80% of the city is swamped, and the stormwater pumps are outdated and again poorly maintained.
There was money allocated to repair those pumps and to repair the dikes, and it was never spent for that.
This rescue in progress.
Americans watch the Coast Guard airlift survivors for days and then weeks. We see children dangling in the air and spinning in baskets. The Coast Guard and other first responders are lifesavers. But much of the rest of the government is missing in action.
And it's just like they had nothing implemented, no safety measure implemented.
Some 1,800 people die in these floodwaters, including a local emergency manager's mom.
His mother was trapped in St. Bernard Nursing Home, and every day she called him and said, "Are you coming, son? Somebody's coming to get you on Tuesday. Somebody's coming to get you on Wednesday. Somebody's coming to get you on Thursday. Somebody's coming to get you on Friday." And she drowned it Friday night.
Hope is slipping away.
Nobody's coming to get it. The secretary has promised. Everybody's promised. They've had press conferences. I'm sick of the press conferences. For God's sakes, shut up and send us somebody.
And the gripping images do not fully capture the gravity of the crisis.
The graves in New Orleans are above ground. You're aware of that.
Beneath the floods, the force of the water breaks open the crypts.
And bodies were flushed out. That was a pretty gruesome sight.
Tests confirm high levels of sewage have also mixed into the storm water. So have oil, heavy metals, industrial chemicals, and high levels of lead.
We dirty. We waded in that water, dirty, filthy water. We dirty. This is not the way we live.
Fires break out. One home, one factory, one warehouse after another, and looting takes off.
Hey, drop. Hey, drop.
Again, government is unprepared. Patterson says he knows someone with a gun who draws a visit from the National Guard.
Knocked on his door and asked if he could share ammo with him. And he provided ammunition for the National Guard that was trying to do security. And there was a lot of rioting going on, if you remember. People were panicked.
It is a war zone, an absolute war zone.
Up to 20,000 shelter on higher ground in New Orleans' battered Superdome. But Katrina ripped off chunks of the roof, soaked the interior, and fried the electrical systems that provide ventilation and running water.
It is horrible. It's dark, it's dreary, it's damp. Take a septic tank at times 100, and it is unbelievable. We couldn't even walk near the restrooms. Our eyes started watering. Even we tried to hold our breath, go in there to get video for the people back home.
Thousands flee. But with most of the city underwater and sealed off by the National Guard, they have nowhere to go. At first, they pack the plaza outside the Superdome. And as time passes, they drift into walkways around the convention center.
Come on, help us.
Thousands now live on the streets, surrounded by piles of garbage with little food and water, mothers holding their babies, and senior citizens sitting and suffering day after day through sweltering heat. Many suffer from dehydration, heat exhaustion, and serious infections.
These people couldn't leave because they couldn't afford to leave. Superdome people went in that shelter because they couldn't afford to leave. And now we're dying?
And then people tried to get across the bridge and escape, and they were stopped.
Then when we tried to go, they would start shooting overhead, told us to go back where we come from.
Who?
The police.
Shooting over your head.
Telling us to go back where we came from.
We're not permitted to get out of there.
Why not?
Your guess is as good as mine. All I can say is everything that could go wrong went wrong when that storm hit.
It exposes deep cracks in our nation's infrastructure, disaster response, safety, and basic leadership. And while the nation focuses on New Orleans, survivors in Mississippi feel abandoned.
We ain't got nowhere to go, nowhere I'm going. I'm lost.
This is one of the first interviews after Hurricane Katrina. Hardy Jackson tells reporter Jennifer Mayerly that he lost his wife in the surge.
Can't find her body. She gone.
You can't find your wife?
Oh, she told neighbors. She told me. I tried. I hold her hand tight like I could, and she told me, "You can't hold me." She said, "Take care of the kids and the grandkids."
It's a heartbreaking story in Biloxi that plays out around the world. And too many others like it follow from families who thought they could write it out.
Where Hurricane Katrina proved that thinking so tragically wrong.
I meet Brian Melier in the town of Waveland.
I'm moving about this fast in the current. Current's got me maybe a little bit faster,
but I could still steer with one hand at that time.
He clings to his little dog Rocky until they slam into the side of a tall house and are pulled to safety.
As I was standing there, I was in shock. I was like this.
He saves his dog, but loses his 80-year-old mother to the surge.
I really hadn't had a chance to grieve for her and really think about the impact of the whole thing, because it would be too overwhelming at this point.
As similar stories come to light, Lisa Mingus drives from her home in Avon Park to the wrath of the storm.
We went to Sam's Club and emptied out our bank accounts.
She's a nurse who wants to help.
And we ended up stopping at a little town called D'Iberville. There was no one there to help.
70% of D'Iberville is destroyed.
There wasn't even any debris. It was like somebody went out there and raked it all up before we got there. It was just sucked out to sea.
She treats the injured and sick.
We just grabbed our little blankets and threw them on the ground, and that's where we slept.
Word spread she's a nurse, and while she sleeps, someone puts up a sign.
ER open. So I found out I was the ER.
A week later, we drive to D'Iberville. We meet Lisa and discover her makeshift ER is growing as people line up with donations.
Brought us back 12 gallons of milk. Now remember, these people only have half of a house, 9 children, one of them in a wheelchair, and she brought us 9 gallons of milk. It's gonna make me cry.
Even the elderly, what can we do? Can we help?
What does that tell you?
There are lots of good people.
There's a reason that we're still here, and that's because we need to help other people.
Stay together, you know, and love one another. That's the only way we can get through this.
They were all down there helping us last year through all 3 hurricanes. We saw them everywhere, and this is payback time.
Wow, it was just so much death. But there was light, you know. Light was the great part.
More helpers arrive. Lisa's clinic grows into a large kitchen.
We fed, at one particular time, 5,000 people in our little kitchen.
Survivors are grateful.
Well, I thank them from the bottom of my heart. I don't know what we'd do without it.
More volunteers drive in from Florida.
Thank God for Tampa Bay and the people over there who have come here and helped us.
Just seeing the images on TV, you know, we just more or less felt compelled to do something, because, you know, this could have easily, as you know, in Tampa, this just could have been us.
We sure do thank y'all.
We sure thank
We
y'all.
sure do.
We've been starved for 3
We thank
days.
y'all with all of our hearts.
I'd say that's been the saving grace of the Gulf Coast so far. Who I have not seen is anybody from FEMA.
Yes, as the volunteers rev up, FEMA moves at a different pace.
And for the last 2 weeks, FEMA has promised me trailers or tents. Just give me a pop-up tent for my people to live in.
They keep putting them off.
I was promised tents yesterday for my people. And when I got over there, they said it'd be 13 days.
It's not adding up.
All of these supplies are sitting in a warehouse, and the people who actually need them aren't getting them.
We never saw FEMA. Not the month I was there.
We find one FEMA contractor.
A lot of training, a lot of remedial review. At this point, that's really all we can do.
Just look at books?
Yes.
To tell you how to respond to a disaster?
Yes.
As we discover one flattened town after another, first responders coordinating through FEMA lose days in training and paperwork. Lessons include the history of FEMA, diversity, and sexual harassment training.
Well, what it was one bureaucratic mess.
Politicians pass blame at every level, and the fallout reshapes our politics, our national priorities, and our culture.
So literally no place to stay, and there's a lot of people that were living in tents, things like that.
Nathan Colian left Biloxi for Central Florida after Hurricane Katrina ripped up his house and washed others away.
There would be whole neighborhoods where you would just see chimneys or slabs and no houses or anything.
It jolted insurance markets, fueling a crisis we still live with.
Well, it killed the insurance industry. It definitely made insurance skyrocket.
But Katrina's impact went far beyond insurance. It changed how Americans see their government and how much or how little they trust it.
And it was totally the politicians' fault.
Louisiana Governor Kathleen Blanco was late in asking for help, killing her political career.
What we need to do is not distract, not play the blame game.
New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin flamed out in scandal.
What the state was doing, I don't freaking know. But I tell you, I am pissed.
The mayor of New Orleans ultimately was convicted of fraud over the misuse of about $1 billion of money that was coming from FEMA that never reached where it was supposed to go.
And the slow federal response tarnished President George W. Bush's reputation as a leader.
He's on vacation in Crawford, Texas. His staff isn't telling him there's a crisis, wanted him to rest. He flies back over, the press is on the plane, takes pictures of him flying over and looking down, which makes people feel he's away from us.
And out of touch when he praised his FEMA chief, Michael Brown, in the middle of the chaos.
He said, Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
Yeah. God, I hope he didn't say that.
Oh, he said it.
And Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
He did. It was, that was horrible.
Bush's approval rating collapsed and never recovered. And political whiplash followed.
Vote these people out.
Voters longing for more effective government lurched left, then right. Left, then right, searching for leadership and direction as Katrina intensified the political divide.
To put it simply, the state of the planet is broken.
On one hand, Katrina compelled the nation and world to confront climate change. It showed how fast and strong storms can grow on a warming planet, fueling calls for action.
Temperature increases are taking place all over the world, and that's causing stronger storms.
But at the same time, the storm also hit Gulf Coast refineries. Gas prices spiked and ignited a push for more oil drilling.
The chant is drill, baby, drill.
It pulled us in opposite directions we're still taking today.
Climate change, which is the overhanging crisis of our time.
We're gonna drill, baby, drill.
It also forced hard conversations about race and class that sparked reform.
Yeah, it did. And you could see it, plain as day. All those resources, the most important part, were let's save the French Quarter, tourists, where all the money is. Let's save the Garden District, all the multi-million-dollar mansions.
While the hardest hit neighborhoods were overwhelmingly poor and black, they got left behind.
Those people in the 9th Ward, and which was probably 95% African American in those areas right there, they didn't get any help.
That we felt deserted? This is not fair.
It boosted calls for fairness or equity. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, DEI, expanded in business and government.
Without question, it did give attention to the underserved communities.
States redrew maps to create more districts where racial minorities make up a majority of the voters.
And so subsequently, we've seen a tremendous increase in the number of, for example, black and Hispanic elected officials.
But Katrina also drove a mass exodus. New Orleans lost nearly half its population.
Katrina shifted a lot of the population in New Orleans over to Atlanta. Again, that's a more diverse population. All of those profiles generally tend to be more Democrat than Republican.
That helped make Georgia a swing state, helped flip 2 Senate seats in Georgia, and diverted national Democrats' money and resources from Florida to Georgia.
But while Hurricane Katrina reshaped the political landscape, it had an even greater impact on how our nation prepares for disaster.
Hello! Search and rescue!
First responders spent weeks after Hurricane Katrina looking for people.
We're here to help!
And rescuing pets.
She found the cookies. Oh, you found the cookies! You found the cookies!
A lot of families stayed in harm's way because they did not want to leave their pets. And others evacuated without them for reasons you may not believe.
FEMA had a rule that and the transportation arrangements, you could not bring a pet in the public transportation.
Well, the fallout from Hurricane Katrina changed that and led to the expansion of pet-friendly shelters and laws protecting pets we have today.
It's mandated in Florida, has a very strong law now that you must take your pet with you.
Governments also increased assistance for people with special needs and updated their flood maps to help homeowners understand their risk.
$25 would have got us flood insurance. We don't have no flood insurance, and we just ain't got nothing.
Katrina also exposed several problems with FEMA that got addressed. Craig Fugate saw the backsliding as Florida's emergency management director.
Well, in the 2004 hurricane season, then Secretary Tom Ridge essentially allowed FEMA to do its job. But by 2005, there was a lot of overreach.
FEMA had lost senior staffers, and its merger with the Department of Homeland Security added red tape and lags in decision-making.
If you wait till you have enough information, it's too late.
Congress gave it more authority, required administrators to have experience managing disasters, and FEMA changed its strategy.
You never get time back.
Craig Fugate left Florida to lead FEMA.
It made more sense to respond like it was bad and then hopefully scale back versus waiting for the request.
And for all the things that went wrong after Katrina, our military helped us recover and showed the way forward.
It taught me the value of resilience and preparedness.
Navy Captain Blake Burkett serves in Guam, where he's leading construction of a new Marine base. We met him 20 years ago as a lieutenant in Gulfport, Mississippi.
This one's just more important because it's home. A lot of our Seabees have been here for 10, 20 years, grew up here, have homes here. Well, they used to have homes here. And they're going to bring this community back to the way it was.
When the tough part starts, people will still help others and try to make things better.
His team of Seabees delivered and set up large tents block after block. They cleared debris from yards and streets and got traffic and supply lines moving.
Everything they owned, gone. They kept helping others despite their personal loss.
They also coordinated with military units from other nations like Mexico and helped repair and rebuild schools.
No plan is perfect, and you will always deviate from it. But having a plan to deviate from enables so much quicker response.
Well, that set the model for plans to come. After Katrina, state, local, and federal responders merged their training. They completed paperwork in advance and banked supplies at shelters and command centers in advance. They pre-approved deployments to save time and coordinated specific plans that spell out who does what and in which order. And governments also stepped up engineering projects to reduce flooding and protect our coasts. We have full interviews and much more on the Fox Local app. You'll find our 30-minute special with stories from survivors of Hurricane Katrina and first responders who saved them. Look for America After Katrina, and thank you for watching.